What does all this mean then? Or this notions of masculinities, rural communities, trauma, how might that help us understand the gendered context of masculinity? The first thing to say about this is that, and a number of commentators have made this point, that emergency management organisations are run almost on militaristic lines. They're modelled on the military. They're very patriarchal, very hierarchical organisations, very male-dominated organisations. And if we're going to be able to look at the kind of the gender, this whole disaster area, we really need to be challenging the way in which emergency services represent patriarchal forms of organisation. And that has implications, I think, for a number of other areas about connection between masculinity and firefighting, risk, reconstruction, fire prevention and equality. I want to look at each of these in turn. As was reported as Deb and Claire talked about the experiences of these men, there was this theme that came through again and again and again as the men talked about sort of this notion of living up to a particular kind of masculinity and perhaps not meeting it. Because we had this iconic image of the firefighter as this courageous, this brave rescuer who puts their own kind of concerns about danger aside, the kind of this heroism, this heroic, iconic notion. And so to raise even questions about firefighters is to kind of, really kind of go against this sort of powerful, iconic image. I mean, people have only good things to say about firefighters, only good things to say. But what does it mean for the men who are firefighters themselves? What does it mean for them if they don't kind of live up to this notion that's always expected of them? It's certainly connected to this idea of hegemonic masculinity. And there certainly seems to be men talk about they prove their masculinity by taking risks, albeit sometimes calculated risks. But there's an emotional burden there as well. That heroism carries with it an emotional burden, and we need to recognise that.